Some places do not need myths to chill your bones. Their truths are already cloaked in shadows, too deep to unravel. In Mississippi, the air hums with secrets not whispered in daylight tales of vanishings that leave no trace but dread, stones etched with curses that still sting, rivers that hum with voices long silenced, and houses that twist their own walls when you turn away. These are not campfire stories spun for thrills. They are fragments of a past that clings to the present, clawing at those who dare look too close. Lock your doors, mute your phone, and let the darkness settle in. Because after this, Mississippi will never feel like just a place on a map. It will feel alive, watching, waiting. From a witch's vow that turned a city to ash, to a bridge where screams never fade, to a river that sings of sorrow, no one can translate. These are the mysteries Mississippi tried to bury. But the ground here does not hold secrets well. They rise, they linger, they demand to be heard. And tonight, we are listening. First, we will walk to Yazoo City, where a curse was not just spoken, it was kept. And its embers still burn. Mystery number 1. The Witch Tree of Yazoo. In the heart of Yazoo City, where cypress trees lean over sluggish rivers and cemeteries hold more than bones, a story festers that no one likes to tell. It is not just folklore, it is a wound that never healed, marked by ashes and a tree that whispers when the wind dies. Back in 1884, Yazoo was a quiet town, its days measured by the slow churn of the river and the pride of its people. But one spring evening, a fisherman, half lost in the swamp's tangle of vines and mud, stumbled upon something that froze his blood. An old woman, her frame twisted like the roots she stood among, was not just living in the delta's mire. She was working, dragging bodies through the muck, her hands stained with something darker than earth. Locals whispered she spoke to the dead, pulling secrets from their silent tongues. Some swore she tortured them, binding their souls to her will with words no Christian ear could bear. When the sheriff's men came for her, she did not hide. She fled, her laughter slicing through the swamp as they chased her into the mire. They found her, half sunk in the mud, eyes wild, spitting curses that made the air feel heavy. Dragged to the edge of Glenwood Cemetery, she stood beneath a gnarled cedar tree and spoke words that would sear themselves into the town's memory. In 20 years I will rise, and this city will burn to nothing. They buried her in an unmarked grave under that tree, its bark scarred, its roots curling like claws. The locals named it the Witch Tree. Grass refused to grow around it. The air there was always colder, sharper, as if the earth itself held its breath. Children dared each other to approach, swearing they heard her voice hissing through the moss, promising ruin. Skeptics scoffed, calling it a tale spun by bored townsfolk. But then came May 25th, 1904, a dry spring, the air thick with heat, and a spark that should not have spread so fast. Fire erupted in downtown Yazoo, tearing through churches, shops, homes, over 200 buildings reduced to cinders in hours. Witnesses swore the flames moved with purpose, leaping from roof to roof as if guided. The date, exactly 20 years after the witch's death. The morning after, townsfolk ran to Glenwood Cemetery. The witch tree stood split down its core, the iron chain around her grave melted into slag. No storm, no lightning, no explanation. Just the gravestone, its curse carved deep, staring back. Today, that grave still waits, encircled by a new chain, replaced time and again, because it keeps breaking. Each snap brings a hush over Yazoo, a collective glance toward the cemetery, because something always follows, a strange wind, a fire no one can trace, a chill that lingers. The Yazoo City Historical Society keeps the records, the date, the fire, the curse. Even they avoid the tree after dusk. Visitors speak of whispers, of bark that seems to shift under moonlight, of burn marks that never fade. On warm May nights, the air near the grave turns bitter, like a warning exhaled from the earth. You do not need to believe in witches to feel it, just in what they leave behind. And what is left behind in Yazoo is a promise that still smolders, ready to flare again. But curses do not always burn. Some hang in the air, waiting to scream. And just a few hours east, in Meridian, a bridge carries a voice that refuses to rest. Mystery number 2. Stuckey's Bridge. Some bridges carry you to the other side. Others drag you into the dark. In Meridian, Mississippi, where the chunky river cuts a slow path through the pines, there is a bridge that does not let go, Stuckey's Bridge, rusted and sagging, built in the 1850s, stands abandoned to cars, but not to what lingers in its shadows. At midnight, when the world quiets, the air here grows thick with sounds no. River makes chains rattling, screams rising, and a shadow that swings beneath the beams, refusing to fade. Locals know the story by heart, passed down like a warning you do not ignore. Stuckey was a name once trusted. A hotel owner and river guide in the 1800s, all smiles and southern charm. He would offer travelers a warm meal, a soft bed, a story by the fire, but not all who took his hospitality left, breathing. The tale goes that Stuckey had a ritual. He would wait until his guests slept, then slip into their rooms, rob them blind, and slit their throats. Their bodies sank into the chunky river, carried downstream by the current. Dozens, maybe more, vanished before whispers turned to suspicion. No one knows who found the first body, but when the truth broke, a mob did not wait for a judge. They dragged Stuckey to his own bridge, looped a rope around his neck, and let him swing from the rafters that still creak today. As the noose tightened, some say he laughed, a low, guttural sound that chilled the crowd. Others swear he cursed them, spitting words of vengeance. But one line echoes in every retelling: "I will never leave this bridge." And maybe he has not. For over a century, the stories have not stopped. Fishermen hear chains clanking beneath the planks when no one's there. Teens, daring each other to cross at midnight, report footsteps trailing them, stopping when they stop, too close to be the wind. Sheriffs have logged reports of cold spots that hit like a fist, even in July's heat. A glowing figure, just a flicker, hangs from the side, gone in a blink. In 2003, a paranormal team camped on the bridge, their recorders catching whispers, groans, the unmistakable creak of rope. One investigator swore her equipment was yanked into the river by unseen hands. Another heard laughter, low and mocking, from behind, yet the bridge was empty. Skeptics blame the wind, the old iron shifting, the river's tricks. But locals do not fish after dusk. Teenagers who laugh off the legend come back pale, some never crossing again. The bridge is fenced off now, half collapsed, but people still come, they listen, they wait, and they hear what they wish they had not. Under moonlight, some swear they see him, Stuckey, still swinging, still smiling, as if the rope was never cut. His vow holds, tying him to the beams, to the river, to the screams that pierce the night. And where screams echo over water, other waters sing with something older, deeper, a sorrow that flows through the Pascagoula River, where voices rise from the depths and refuse to be forgotten. Mystery number 3, the singing river. Not every mystery screams. Some sing, soft and sorrowful, pulling you closer until the chill of their truth sinks in. Along the Pascagoula River, where the water runs wide and dark through the heart of Mississippi, there is a sound that does not belong. Stand on its banks at twilight, when the world holds its breath, and you might hear it, a melody without words, voices without bodies, rising from the depths like a lament that never learned to fade. This is the singing river, and its song is older than the state itself, woven from a tragedy that stains the current. Long before Spanish sails pierced the horizon, before Mississippi was a name scratched on a map, the Pascagoula tribe lived here, a people known for their quiet ways and deep reverence for the land. They were the bread people, feeding strangers, sharing what little they had. But kindness could not shield them when war came slinking down from the north. Another tribe, some say the Choctaw, others a rogue warband, demanded surrender, offering chains instead of peace. The Pascagoula would not bend, they would not break. So one night, under a sky heavy with stars, they made their choice. Hundreds of them men, with weathered hands. Women clutching their children. Elders leaning on sticks locked arms, and walked into the river. Not fleeing, not fighting, but singing. A slow, steady hymn carried them forward as the water rose past their waists, their shoulders, their mouths. They did not stop, not even when the current swallowed them whole. The invaders stood frozen on the shore, watching, listening. As the song drifted across the surface, a melody no one could repeat but none could forget. Centuries have passed, but the river has not let go. Fishermen, drifting in the half-light, swear they hear it, a soft, layered harmony, like wind through crystal, humming just above the water. It is not a boat's radio, not a trick of the mind. It is there, clear and fleeting, stopping the moment you speak. In 1907, an engineer named Eugene Watson, tasked with surveying the river for a dam, paused his work to listen. He called it a sound both beautiful and unbearable, like grief given voice. He abandoned the project, unable to drown out what he had heard. In the 1970s, a group of high school students camping nearby caught something on a tape recorder low, harmonic tones, rising and falling, cut short by a single laugh. The tape burned in a fire the next year, but the story did not. Scientists point to water resonance, currents brushing against unseen rocks, but their theories falter. No one's recreated the sound, not here, not anywhere else. Only the Pascagoula sings, and only at its own choosing. On still nights when the air is thick and the stars burn bright, boaters kill their engines and wait. Sometimes the water trembles, sometimes the wind falls silent, and sometimes the river lifts its voice not in warning, but in mourning. A song for those who walked into its arms and never came back. But water is not the only thing that holds memory. In Natchez, a house stands that twists its own walls, hiding rooms that should not exist, waiting for those who dare step inside. Mystery number 4, the Hollow House of Natchez. Not every mystery screams. Some sing, soft and sorrowful, pulling you closer until the chill of their truth sinks in. Along the Pascagoula River, where the water runs wide and dark through the heart of Mississippi, there is a sound that does not belong. Stand on its banks at twilight, when the world holds its breath, and you might hear it, a melody without words, voices without bodies, rising from the depths like a lament that never learned to fade. This is the Singing River, and its song is older than the state itself, woven from a tragedy that stains the current. Long before Spanish sails pierced the horizon, before Mississippi was a name scratched on a map, the Pascagoula tribe lived here, a people known for their quiet ways and deep reverence for the land. They were the bread people, feeding strangers, sharing what little they had. But kindness could not shield them when war came slinking down from the north. Another tribe, some say the Choctaw, others a rogue warband, demanded surrender, offering chains instead of peace. The Pascagoula would not bend, they would not break. So one night, under a sky heavy with stars, they made their choice. Hundreds of them men, with weathered hands. Women clutching their children. Elders leaning on sticks locked arms, and walked into the river, not fleeing, not fighting, but singing. A slow, steady hymn carried them forward as the water rose past their waists, their shoulders, their mouths. They did not stop, not even when the current swallowed them whole. The invaders stood frozen on the shore, watching, listening. As the song drifted across the surface, a melody no one could repeat but none could forget. Centuries have passed, but the river has not let go. Fishermen, drifting in the half-light, swear they hear it, a soft, layered harmony, like wind through crystal, humming just above the water. It is not a boat's radio, not a trick of the mind. It is there, clear and fleeting, stopping the moment you speak. In 1907, an engineer named Eugene Watson, tasked with surveying the river for a dam, paused his work to listen. He called it a sound both beautiful and unbearable, like grief given voice. He abandoned the project, unable to drown out what he had heard. In the 1970s, a group of high school students camping nearby caught something on a tape recorder low, harmonic tones, rising and falling, cut short by a single laugh. The tape burned in a fire the next year, but the story did not. Scientists point to water resonance, currents brushing against unseen rocks, but their theories falter. No one's recreated the sound, not here, not anywhere else. Only the Pascagoula sings, and only at its own choosing. On still nights when the air is thick and the stars burn bright, boaters kill their engines and wait. Sometimes the water trembles, sometimes the wind falls silent, and sometimes the river lifts its voice not in warning, but in mourning, a song for those who walked into its arms and never came back. But water is not the only thing that holds memory. In Natchez, a house stands that twists its own walls, hiding rooms that should not exist, waiting for those who dare step inside. Mystery number 5, the Devil's Punch Bowl. Some places wear their beauty like a mask, hiding truths too heavy to unearth. Just outside Natchez, where the Mississippi River carves its slow path, there is a sunken basin that looks like paradise from above, lush with wild peach trees, draped in vines, cradled by cliffs. But no one picks the fruit, and no one lingers long. They call it the Devil's Punch Bowl. And its name is not a whim, it is a grave, vast and silent, holding a sorrow the land can't forget. In 1865, when the Civil War's final shots still echoed, Natchez became a beacon for thousands of newly freed people, fleeing the shackles of the Confederacy for the promise of Union safety. But freedom was not waiting. Instead, the U.S. Army herded over 20,000 souls into this natural bowl, a makeshift camp ringed by cliffs and guarded by soldiers who saw prisoners, not people. No shelters, no doctors, no clean water, just mud, hunger, and disease. Men starved under open skies. Women gave birth in the dirt, their cries swallowed by the wind. Children vanished, their names unrecorded, their fates unwritten. No graves were dug, no markers placed, just a number whispered among survivors, and a silence that grew heavier than the earth itself. Locals call the peaches that grow there blood peaches, fed by bones, they say, and no one in Natchez dares eat them. Hikers have stumbled on fragments, bones washed up by rain, shallow mounds that shift in the night. In 1995, a hunter claimed he saw a child, barefoot and silent, standing at the edge of the basin at dusk. When he called out, the figure turned, eyes wide as moons, and melted into the trees. He never hunted there again. The wind in the punch bowl carries sounds no forest should make soft cries. A gasp, like someone fighting for air. City records are vague, military logs incomplete, as if the truth was buried on purpose. Development plans falter. The land resists, refusing to be tamed. A local historian put it best, "It is not ghosts that haunt this place. It is the silence we chose. No memorial stands here, no plaque names the lost. But the trees know. Their branches sag under the weight of memory, blooming each spring, with fruit no one touches." If you stand above the Devil's Punch Bowl, feeling the pull to descend, resist it. What is buried there does not rest, and it does not forgive. Some secrets are locked in the earth, but others come from above, carried on lights that do not belong in the sky. On the banks of the Pascagoula River, two men learned that truth one night, and it changed them forever. Mystery number 6. The Pascagoula Abduction. Some mysteries do not creep from the shadows they descend, sharp and blinding, leaving silence where answers should be. On October 11th, 1973, the Pascagoula River lay still under a starlit sky, its waters reflecting nothing but the quiet of a Mississippi night. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were not chasing UFOs or spinning tall tales. They were just two shipyard workers, fishing after a long shift, their lines cutting lazy arcs in the dark. Charles, 42, was steady, pragmatic. Calvin, 19, was shy, still settling into his new job. The air was warm, the river calm, until everything stopped. A high-pitched hum sliced through the night, flattening the world wind. Crickets. Even the ripple of the water fell silent. Then came the light, a blue-white glow, bullet-shaped, hovering low over the tree line, no louder than a held breath. It was not a plane, not a star, not anything they could name. Before they could move, 3 figures glided from the craft, crossing the marsh without footsteps. They were gray, wrinkled, like old leather, 5 feet tall with no necks, no ears, just slits for eyes and claw-like hands. Charles felt his body lock, his bones heavy as stone. Calvin could not scream, could not run, as if drugged by the air itself. The creatures did not walk, they floated, seizing the men, lifting them into the light. Inside, Charles was laid on a table, a metallic orb hovering above, clicking softly as a beam scanned him. No pain, but no control, just a sense of being seen, thoughts laid bare. Calvin blacked out, waking later on the riverbank, trembling beside Charles, both pale and wordless. They drove straight to the sheriff, their stories spilling out in separate rooms, identical in every detail. The sheriff, skeptical, left them alone with a hidden recorder, expecting a hoax. Instead, it caught Charles whispering, "Jesus, Calvin, what happened to us?" And Calvin's choked reply, "They had no eyes, man. No eyes." The tape stopped the sheriff's laughter cold. News spread, reporters swarmed, and Charles passed a polygraph. His story unshaken. Calvin vanished from public view, haunted, waking nightly with screams he would not explain. Decades later, under hypnosis, he spoke of a taller figure inside the craft, thin and almost human, probing his mind, showing him visions wars, skies burning, a world under watchful eyes. She was not warning me, he said. She was studying. Calvin's book, published in 2018, held fast to the truth until his death in 2023. Others came forward, fishermen, locals, all seeing that same silent light over the river that week, too scared to speak until then. The Pascagoula abduction remains a cornerstone of UFO lore, documented, dissected, but never explained. People still visit the river, some hoping to glimpse that light, others praying they won't. What Hickson and Parker met did not want to be found. It was already watching. And while some truths come from the sky, others lie buried, not in earth or water, but in the silence of those who know too much and say too little, waiting to be uncovered in the places Mississippi tried to forget. Mississippi's secrets do not rest easy. They hum through the air, seep from the soil, and flicker in the corners of places we are told to forget. From the Witch Tree in Yazoo, where a curse turned a city to ash, to the screams that still swing beneath Stuckey's bridge. These are not just stories, they are scars, etched deep into the land. The Pascagoula River sings of a people who chose death over surrender, their voices rippling through time, while the Hollow House in Natchez twists its walls to keep its truths caged. The Devil's Punch Bowl buries a history too cruel to face, its peaches growing heavy with unspoken names, and the lights over the river in 1973 left two men haunted by eyes that were not there. These mysteries are not bound by time or reason, they are alive, woven into the rivers, the trees, the silence that blankets this state. Some were buried by choice, others by fear, but none stay buried long. The ground here is restless, whispering to those who listen, watching those who pass by. What makes these stories cling so tightly is not just their strangeness, it is their weight, the human cost they carry, the lives they swallowed, and the questions they refuse to answer. Mississippi does not just hold these secrets, it breathes them, and they are waiting for you to breathe them back. So as you sit there, the night pressing against your windows, ask yourself which of these haunts you most. Is it the witch's promise, still smoldering in Yazoo's soil? The shadow that swings on Stuckey's bridge, laughing in the dark? The river's song, mourning what was lost? The house that changes when you blink? The basin where peaches taste of blood? Or the light that came for two men and left them broken? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us which mystery keeps you up tonight and which state we should unearth next. Because somewhere out there, another place is listening, its secrets stirring, ready to spill into the light. And we will be there, pulling back the shadows, because some truths, no matter how deep they are buried, were never meant to stay silent.